Right, this is going to be another episode of Thorin and Loco versus Worlds. Alternate name for the series: three assholes who can't get any predictions right, don't deserve to make a living in esports, should retire, go back to CS, old ginger cunt. Just one of those things I've been hearing, you know. What's great is it just lagged the second that happened. Are you back? As if it lagged right when I was saying that.
I mean,
did you actually hear any of that?
Lag. You buzzed out. Like we heard a little, and then you fizzled out.
Don't worry, it wasn't that great anyway. We'll just pretend like you all heard that, right? I'll edit in a fucking standard ovation later. Right, anyway, it's in the video. I'm the one recording locally. Don't worry, folks. Speaking of local folks that I appreciate and speak to, GG Esports sponsors this video, and they are a site which want me to not read the copy every time, but I don't even have the copy, so I'm going to remember the copy, which is they are a statistical matrix which shows the odds for different matches. They have VODs embedded in the site. You can play with coins, which can later be exchanged somehow, where you can win gems somehow. I'm not exactly sure myself. I fucked around with it on the site. There's different stuff going on there. You can go there, play on a leaderboard against plebs, or against plebs who try to make analysis and videos and also fail. So everyone who doesn't know anything about League of Legends, you know everything about League of Legends because you're on Reddit right now. And the second you get a Reddit account, that means you are just God. You know everything. And if you don't, you just lie and say you did. And no one can check it because you're nobody, so no one's going to waste any time checking it. So basically, long and short way around this is, if you want to play at GG Esports, you now know about it. Now let's proceed with the video. Right, so anyway.
Let me explain at least a little bit. You bet, and you can win coins, and then you can exchange your coins for gems, and then you can exchange your gems for RPs or like for Steam skins for like Dota 2 or CSGO, stuff like that.
Okay, that was the part I missed out.
That's how.
Yeah, I got too wrapped up with the part about like repeatedly explaining that they're plebs. Like that happens sometimes. That digression can happen, believe it or not. But I mean, I could have gone the LS route where you just literally start saying stuff like, you can't look at the game the way I look at it. When I see a champion, I don't see a champion. I see an extension of a man's performance in a virtual battleground. Like that's actually better, Alice. You can go with that one, man. That's the script that you can use. That's pretty good. I like it when he does that, though. Anytime he does that, I'll become like the hype man. Like, yeah, get him, kill him about that shit. They don't know about you, that shit without nameplates, motherfucker. Tell them about that shit. Tell them how Crown be dodging, jiggling back and forth. Do you think that's just unnecessary movement? It's necessary if you want to dominate this fucking game. Like, I love it when he does that. When he gets really impassioned about League of Legends, it's legit as fuck, isn't it? Because everyone else is thinking like, what do you mean, Alice? I just walk up and right-click the minion. You don't right-click those fucking minions. You press the A-click. You hit a champion. You're going to hit minions, an award. Remember that time Double hit award? You idiot. Anyway, I'll do an intro for you if you want, LS. I'll do like an intro for your channel one time. But anyway.
It's been proven that the Redditors are right, and then LS was in fact wrong. Clicking a lot of times and moving a lot of times doesn't help you at all. It doesn't even get you past semis at Worlds. Like, LS has actually just been fucking bullshitting the whole time.
Exactly.
Like, clicking a lot. He's just doing it cool to look like StarCraft. The same StarCraft, like League of Legends, completely different game. Koreans can't dominate. Like, we saw the truth in quarterfinals. Like, you know LS is lying.
Yeah, so LS's entire facade has been shattered. So anyway, right, what would be hilarious now is if we just like delete him from the call and then we just add in a different guy. We're like, it's SL, the new analyst from NA who loves Cloud9, and he's like, hey guys, I'm a big fan of Jensen, and I think Zazal's probably the best jungler or something. Like, let's go. No, well, support player, but let's go, folks. And anyway, like, this episode is going to be a prediction episode. Oh, God, what have we done? Why are we doing this again, boys? But anyway, listen, you know what they say? If at first you don't succeed, try again. If that doesn't work the first 4 times, just keep trying anyway. And if that still doesn't work, hopefully you get enough ad revenue. That's the gist of the message, I believe. So we're going to do one that is good. Like, here's the thing.
If all fails, make Fortnite videos.
Could do that as well. Which actually I think was NA's backup plan for Worlds, right? Hey-oh! Oh, we're back in the building now, baby. We're back in the building now. So anyway, so this is the topic, okay? So basically, after all the abuse, after Cloud9 won, we've picked Fnatic to win anyway. Let's just throw ourselves back into the fire by doing Fnatic versus Cloud9 as the semi-finals. So amazingly, let's start with this. There's an NA versus EU World semi-finals in 2018. And that's not because North Korea destroyed South Korea with a bunch of nukes or something. South Korea was even at the tournament. It's in Korea right now. This is real life. LS, this isn't just your nightmare. You haven't gone into some eyes wide shut type self-created fantasy where you're just torturing yourself. This is real life for me. What do you think of this?
Well, I thought about it. I worry about what the aftermath means for Korea. I talked about that with Loco on where I hope that I'll end up being wrong.
Don't worry, you will.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I hope I'm wrong. So I worry about the aftermath in regards to how does Korea respond to the losses at Worlds. I know that it's blown over very poorly, seemingly within the Korean community, and even players that I've talked to. But then, I don't know. The finals ending up the way that they are, the fact that only 2 Korean teams made it to quarters. I mean, Genji didn't deserve to be at quarters anyway. I said initially I thought that they didn't belong at the tournament anyway. I was just watching Cloud9's games a few hours ago, I guess, and seeing how the semifinals are arriving. Since I haven't watched the other side of the semifinals yet, or the teams that have played, the only team Fnatic looks like, and I haven't seen their quarterfinals match, but they looked like they were on a level that I haven't seen from Western teams in every marker. The way that I saw them get out of groups, I saw the same exact stuff again in quarters, and this time Afrika just gave in to the NARAM, and I don't know. Afrika looked absolutely horrendous, and Cloud9 looked less horrendous, and that's the metric that I evaluated those by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the thing,
Wait,
Loco. That was a
go
bit
on.
of a that was a bit of a downer though, Loco. I was trying to hype it up, NA versus EU in the semis, and he was like, Korea, I don't know what's going on with them, and I guess Afrika just sucked a bit more, and I guess Cloud9, someone had to win that match, so I guess they're in the semis, and anyway, I'm just going to get another cup of coffee, and so Loco, come on, you're a big NA fan. Cloud9 is in the semi-finals, Fnatic's in the semi-finals, this is pretty sick for the West.
Yeah, I mean, this is super fucking exciting. Either European or North American finalists. For sure, from this side of the bracket, we are gonna have a Fnatic or Cloud9 in the finals. That is absolutely fucking crazy to think about.
Fnatic.
But I do want to address. Whoa. Yes. I know you can't really hold your load, but let me fucking talk about we have what is it process we go through, and I do want to touch on LS's Korean thing, his whole thing about Korea doom and gloom. So in the era of Korean esports, since Kespa, head coaches a lot of the time don't do absolute fucking garbage. They don't do anything. Korean head coaches are one of the most privileged positions where you get to get away with not doing a lot of work a lot of times, and you get paid as well as star players.
Sure.
So an example of this is, I thought this was just in League, but in StarCraft, right? So nowadays, almost all former StarCraft pro gamers are streamers on Afrika TV, and they'll do stuff like drunk streams sometimes. So whenever they get drunk enough, you can donate on Korea, on that website, just like Twitch. So it'll be $100, I'll finish this whole bottle of soju. And people will keep donating and donating and donating, and then these streamers will get drunk as fuck. These former pros will get pissed drunk, and then they'll start saying shit like, fuck my head coach, fuck my previous head coach. Effort on Effort is a really well-known Zerg player, and then he's like, my head coach fucking ruined my career, fuck this guy, he didn't do jack shit. And that's a really one famous instance of a former StarCraft pro player just going ham at his coach once he was drunk, and he was just being honest. And it's not just Effort. There's been a lot of examples of that happening. And Koreans, it's a very reserved culture, so you don't go out of the way and like call people out like LS or Thorin or sometimes me or like other people in the North American community does. So when there's like shit going on that's wrong, people don't really speak out, but they do post anonymously on forums. And how you get credit as an anonymous poster on these forums is you have an account and then you keep saying the right stuff before it happens. So an account that was previously correctly guessing Samsung White and Samsung Blue all going to China and a bunch of the big Korean moves. This person that's posting has said, I'm a person that works within the esports industry. I don't want to say who I am, but a lot of the Korean coaches have just been like chilling and like while players are practicing, they've been going out drinking, they've been just meeting up, they've been doing like, they've just been wasting their time and doing whatever the fuck they want. And it's been hugely fucking problematic in Korea. And they just haven't gotten punished for it because they've always gotten results off the hard work of the players before. And now this year, like that's finally shown up, and there's gonna be big sweeping changes across Korean coaching community, and a lot of the coaches are gonna get canned. And Korea's been super fucking serious about canning shitty coaches and rebuilding from the ground and getting new coaching staff. LS's whole tweets about things being doom and gloom, I think is a little bit presumptuous, and I don't think it's going to be bad for Korea. Like Korea knows it fucked up, and they're going out of their way to fix the parts that were fucked up, like coaches being lazy and refusing to adapt despite like losing to China 5 times in a row this year. I thought that was so fucking dumb. Lose at All-Stars, Funzy tournament. And then what was the next tournament they lost at? MSI. Was it Rift Rival? MSI. Lose at MSI. King Jones at SKT. Shit happens. And then lose at Rift Rivals. Shit happens. Lose at Asiana Games. Whatever. We're still Korea. We're gonna show up at Worlds.
Anyway, let's just delete the VODs. That never happened.
Yeah, like
you see that?
Go fuck. Like that Korea's been so fucking cocky and so fucking just like, we're the best, like, don't matter. The meta's changing? No, we set the meta, it don't matter. So, yeah, like, I don't think Korea took this world lightly. And it has been a huge fucking wake-up call for the Korean community and the Korean staff. Like, even the casters after Korea lost weren't like, oh, too bad. They were like, I mean, this is the truth of things. Like Kim Dong-jun said, other regions are better. It's time to start learning. Like, we need to give credit where it's due, and we need to start learning. Like, no one in Korea is like taking this shit lightly, and everyone's like trying to make changes. So yeah, I don't think it'll be doom and gloom. And get back to our scheduled program of Fnatic versus Cloud9 predictions.
Yes. Well, what was good about that was we basically proved that we are like the elitist version of all the arseholes on Reddit. So the same people on Reddit who I made a whole video about just the Korean topic, made all the comments just about Cloud9. We've just taken a video that's about Cloud9 versus Fnatic, and the first 10 minutes is just us about Korea. So we've just done our own fucked up version of it. But I guess what every human has is failing, right? We're all got our biases and our blind spots, but whatever. I thought it was some good info there, Loco. That was pretty good. So,
okay.
By the way, speaking of which, Bjergsen, if you ever want to do a drunk stream, I will donate $1,000 if you say like, fuck Loco, he was a shit coach, like he fucking ruined my career, you know, he took me to that Worlds one time and got me banged out in that group of Katie Rolstein LGD, like I deserve better than that. If you do that, then I'm telling you, mate, we can make some Skrilla off this stream and shit. So anyway, back to the episode.
There's been multiple movies of like people getting paid to shit talk me, so I mean,
that's true. Well, to be fair, there's about 30 episodes of Summoning Insight if you want any of that material. So just go back to the archives. We've got all the vintage shit. And we weren't even lying. We legit hated the guy. So, right, anyway, back to the programming that was previously scheduled. What we're going to talk about now is...
You're lucky we're going back to the program, because I have so many things to say about that, but let's go back to the program.
Maybe we should do an episode one time. We'll do like a Maury Povich type scenario. LS will be like, hey, welcome back to the show. We got Locodoco here, Korean streamer turned coach, and Thorin here, ginger guy from the UK who hated him and got blacklisted by TSM. So anyway, Loco, how did it happen? What happened with you and Monto Cristo? We'll do a whole thing like that. It'll be fucking amazing. It'll be like a sit-down interview. Anyway, back to the schedule program.
He's my real father.
Let's do the DNA test. Exactly, right? So, the DNA test, right? Back to the episode. Here's the question for you, Loco, right? What, as someone who's been in the NA scene, what do you think it actually means for NA to make it to the semis of Worlds? And not only that, beat a Korean team to make it.
So I think it means a lot for NA to make it to Worlds. Like it means, I mean, making it to semis at Worlds where we've been a fucking laughing stock. It's been incredible, and it's an incredible accomplishment. And I hate to do this because I've done it a lot of times for Cloud9, and I don't mean it as an insult to them. But the accomplishment is a little less impressive than it has been before due to the huge failing of Korean teams. Like,
sure,
NA and EU and China definitely showed up. I'm not taking that away from them. Like, I mean, you can clip it however you want, Redditors, Twitch people, but Cloud9 played damn fucking well. But it would have been so much more worthwhile if they beat a Korean team at like full strength, like playing really well, like where Africa played like fucking Garbo. It's like it was like Cloud9 won fair and square. I'm not taking that away from them, but the Korean teams at this tournament played so fucking Garbo, and they didn't read the meta at all, and they faltered and they failed in so many different kind of ways. And like semi feels damn fucking good for NA, and it is something we're gonna treasure forever. But I wish it was off the back of NA and EU and China playing extremely well, not off the back of Korean teams just like face planting to the ground and like being fucking garbage. So yeah, it means so much and it means a lot, but there is a little asterisk because 2018 is always going to be the remembered as the year where Koreans just played like fucking garbage.
Yes, I'll put it this way. Let me contextualize that because I can see how people would get mad at it. Put it this way. Say Cloud9 made semis now, or maybe even made the final, but on the other side of the bracket, KT Rolster went to the final and KT Rolster won Worlds. That would actually help Cloud9's accomplishment, believe it or not, because unfortunately, since every Korean team went out before semis, it does make it look like the region didn't do particularly well. And even the strongest team from the region, which is KT Rolster in the end, even they didn't make semis. So I'd see what you mean in that sense. Like, I will say, yeah, obviously Cloud9 can only beat the teams in front of them, you know. And they did beat Gen G. They beat Africa. This is big-time stuff, you know. Western teams don't beat Korean teams normally. But yeah, like, unfortunately in that quarters, this isn't a quarters reaction video, but just as a comment, you can't exactly look and say Africa played awesome. Like, I always say this in CSGO, for example, okay. Whenever people think I'm biased towards a particular team or player, I actually say this point, which I think is a very key distinction. To me, someone who's biased and is just a fanboy doesn't care how their team wins. They just want their team to win. So if their team wins 3-0 and it's very easy, great, who gives a fuck? We win. I actually always say this. If my team is playing in a match, I would rather they lost an epic match that was the best fucking game ever played than just won 3-0 easily, because it wouldn't feel like if they win, I want it to be against an opponent that looks fucking amazing, really strong, like playing, like pushing you to the limit. Like, we're not going to talk about much in this episode, but the KT Rolster versus IG series was like that. Went all the way to 5 games. Like, there was all the tension. Like, both teams could have won it. Unfortunately, the Africa series wasn't like that. Gen G looked absolute garbage in their games. Like, yeah, I see what you mean about like an asterisk, but the asterisk isn't that Cloud9 don't deserve it. It's just that Korea clearly wasn't as good as past years. With that said, though, to be fair, Korea was pretty whack in 2017 in certain ways as well. So, like, this isn't like just a problem just from this year, just a worse version this year because of the meta swap. So, what about this then? Let's start diving into the game. So let's start on the Cloud9 one. Can you give us, like, I know we did some basic stuff before, but maybe from the last games and what happened in the quarters, can you give us some stats on Cloud9 or anything we need to look out for? Like, where have they excelled as a team to make it this far?
Where they've really excelled is, I would say, jungle and mid lane. I know a lot of people are going to say top lane has been like super key for Cloud9, but I think jungle strength from Sven Skjæren has been so fucking amazing. Like, Sven played imba good in the quarterfinals. Like, I was super duper impressed by Sven. I mean, Sven's been my favorite Cloud9 member ever since Smoothie left, because I mean, I have a personal relationship with Smoothie and I like Smoothie, but like from a neutral point of view, Sven Skjæren has just been fucking killing it. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't want to go all the way to where Jack said, where he's like, yeah, we carried Sven Skjæren out of TSM and now Sven Skjæren's carrying us at Worlds. Like, oh my God, like that comment hurt me deeply. But
sounded like a good fucking tagline to a movie, though, or something.
Like, Sven Skjæren has just been playing insanely well. Like, his Graves play. Graves is also a very North America signature champion. It's very played in like China, Europe, or Korea, it's primarily a North American champion, like starting with like Dardoch and then Acadian and then now like Svenskeren. Like Svenskeren's Graves has been like fucking killing it. 75% win rate. Like his Graves was just off the chart in their game versus Afrika. Okay. So yeah, Svenskeren, he's just been so insanely good. I want to go over his little bit of his detailed stats. 62% kill participation. Kill participation is a stat you really want to look at for junglers because, I mean, how much you participate in kills is, I mean, obviously super fucking important for jungle. Like, it means, like, you're there at the fights. You aren't just, like, randomly farming. It's a really important stat, and Svenskeren has it pretty high at 62%. Also, average KDA, 8.7. This isn't the last 10 games. These are all his games from Worlds. So, yeah, I think Sven has been a super key player for Cloud9. Because overall, like Cloud9 had their main jungler be Blabber, right? And they didn't bring Golden Glue as a sub, but they brought Svenskeren and Blabber as their duo jungle. And now Blabber just isn't seeing any kind of play because they determined Svenskeren is a better jungler. And that's what I was really worried about for Cloud9, how Blabber would do under the bright lights, because he didn't do that well in finals. Like, yeah, Svenskeren has been the key player in Cloud9's like success. I think if I have to pick out one player, it'd be Svenskeren for me. LS, what's your opinion?
Yeah, what do you think, LS? Svenskeren.
I mean, I saw. I mean, are we watching the same scene? Kuro flashes at 2 minutes in game number 1, and Sven's poor route ends up being rewarded because Kuro doesn't have a flash. Then Svenskeren gets match counter ganked, but the way that Afrika plays out the counter gank, or the match gank several times, ends up being fucking stupid. I don't know why Tushin walks up to a Shen trying to induce a taunt when he knows the Nocturne's there, and that's why Spirit's waiting for the counter gank. I mean, what do we talk about with Svenskeren's level of play?
So in the Victor Cassidy game, or no, not the Victor Cassidy game, the Victor Rise game, where Kuro and Keen got incredibly ahead. They're both like 3-1 or like 4-0. I think Keen was 4-0 and Kuro was like 3-1. Like they're incredibly ahead. And I think a lot of faults of teams at this tournament has been in that state, the jungler and the overall team decides to play passive and they don't make plays. They don't force things onto people. Svenskeren carried that game, and I think it was super fucking crucial that he carried game 2. That game 2 where both solo laners of Afrika were incredibly ahead, and Svenskeren didn't play like a pussy, and he pressured topside when Afrika was pressuring bottom, and instead of playing to react, constantly putting pressure on Afrika and forcing them in uncomfortable situations and actually having them break was a key part of why C9 won, where definitely I do think Svenskeren is prone to mistakes sometimes, and he does play overly aggressive, but the way he played that series, I don't think there was any other jungler that could have made sure C9 won. There's no jungler in the world that could have made sure C9 won. Score couldn't have made it happen. It has to be a combination of someone that's willing to play aggressive, willing to play well and take risks on a high level stage. And the only player I think would have been like Svenskeren and maybe Broxa. Like Broxa has been doing that too. So yeah, I think a lot of credit goes to Svenskeren.
We're
like,
talking about... Go, sorry.
Or no, go ahead.
No,
what's your point?
Right, so in game 2, you're saying that Svenskeren carried, but he gets 4 out of 5 of his kills from Afrika being complete donkeys. He gets 2 kills in top lane because Afrika doesn't know to surrender.
I want to contest you on like the donkey point. There are so many times where people are playing like donkeys and they don't get punished by the jungler. You can't
punish if he just happens to be in a certain spot and they just fall right into him. That's not a punish.
Like you don't think, LS, that he actually went there like having an intention to gank? They just fucked up when he happened to be nearby.
They see him coming in top tier 2. They see him 30 seconds in advance. It's not a fucking punish to press R.
It is definitely a punish if... What if people are talking, this guy's playing aggressive, this guy's playing overly dumb, come here and kill this guy. Yo, let's pressure top. Okay, we're gonna have to respond to bottom. It's too late, we can't respond to bottom, we need to pressure top. And they're pressuring top and they decide to stay and he punishes them. Like when you...
It's like a riot squad walking through a street and then you see the riot squad coming and you walk in front of them anyway and they just happen to bulldoze right through you.
And there's some riot... Okay, I don't want to describe it as like a riot squad because I think the analogy just goes... kind of goes whack if it's like a riot squad. Top tier 2,
He gets 2
A
kills.
lot of I'll say this:
They see
top tier
Cloud9
2
coming.
Korean teams would back off there. Korean teams, they would play defensive and they would play reactive there. The fact that Cloud9 played aggressive and they wanted to punish is the core reason why Korean teams are failing and why these Western teams and Chinese teams are succeeding. That they are, instead of fucking reacting, they're making plays and they're putting people in an uncomfortable position, and Korea's not used to it.
Cloud9 was willing to trade top tier 2 for bottom tier 2, and Ryze is standing 300 range behind the turret against 3 people he can see, and then Victor comes up behind, and instead of just letting the turret die, they stand still like they're fucking looking to the sky as a bomb's about to fucking drop, and you're sitting here calling it a goddamn punish.
It is a punish. Like if people are in wrong position, you fucking go and kill them. That's called punishing.
No, he was
If
gonna
people
kill
are-
the turret regardless. They just happened to be standing in the way. He's like the person at Tiananmen Square getting run over by a tank or something.
If you're in the wrong position and you go and kill the other person, that's
He
called
didn't
punishing them.
kill them. He just did what he was gonna do anyway. They just happened to
That's
be in the way.
what he was doing was punishing them. Like what do you think? What do you think was the
Cloud9 was making a bad trade. They handshook a bad trade.
No, they had to make that trade. If they're in a position where they're behind, they have to make trades. And if you're in a position where you're behind and you're trading top tier 2 for bottom tier 2, you're doing equal trades instead of falling more behind.
Equal.
How's top tier 2 for bottom tier 2 not equal?
Africa has superior scaling. It's not equal at 19 minutes.
If they have superior scaling
Yes.
and you just let them take the turret and you don't take anything, that's worse. That's the best.
They're having to do something, but it's not.
That's the best thing they
good.
can do. They're in a shitty situation.
No, they
in a
could have
shitty.
prevented that situation from occurring.
LS, what about this?
They could-
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa,
Yes.
Wait, no. I want to contest him on this.
Come on,
If
man.
they constantly play reactive, right, and they constantly play to, they're gonna do this, so we need to do this. They're gonna do
Yeah.
this, we need to do this. They fall into the Korean problem of constantly reacting to things. When you're constantly reacting to things and you're not making shit happen on your own, like you don't force your opponents to make mistakes, and that's what Korea has turned into. That is exactly the problem with Korean thinking. If you do this, they're gonna do this, so we're gonna perfectly counter, so we're gonna do this. So they don't make these early game plays, and they don't make these aggressive or risky kind of plays, and they're always thinking about best reaction to things. And in the past, it's worked out. There was Sightstone, there was Green Smite. You could have placed, you can litter the map with wards. You could have completely littered the map with wards. So you can play this kind of way because you had a lot more information than before. Now there's so much missing information, and playing reactive becomes so much harder. That has been the core problem with Korea, where the game completely changed. Game changed around, it's not so much playing around vision, and it's about executing, and it's about mechanically outplaying, and it's about making plays on each other. And Korean casters and other people are slowly coming around to realizing this, where other regions caught up to it, and they were doing that. And this is like the core Korean
casters are
thinking.
gonna fucking say whatever they want because Jesus, what? They don't know any better.
I respect Dongjin a lot. I think they know their shit. But anyways, like that's beside the point. Cloud9 force plays onto them instead of reacting to.
Yes.
If they react right, then they don't leave Afrika to make any kind of mistakes. Like if they're reacting to their push and trying to prevent it as much as possible, the person that's more likely to make the mistake is Cloud9. If you're reacting to what they're doing, by forcing stuff onto them, forcing shit they haven't necessarily seen before or expect from playing in Korea, they put Afrika in uncomfortable positions and they make shit happen.
Here's my gripe. At 19 minutes, if Afrika, if we're playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Afrika locates the correct answer as a brain and they back up, Cloud9's fucked.
I mean,
The fact Cloud9
maybe,
found
but
himself in a really shitty situation that required Afrika to make a poor decision in order for the decision to be okay. Afrika makes a poor decision. Cloud9 gets ahead. That doesn't make it a good decision. That's called result-based analysis.
okay, as you said, right?
Back up.
As
Yes, go ahead.
you said, Afrika has a better scaling comp, and
Yeah.
Cloud9 has to force plays and has to take maybe 40%, 30% plays and hope they work out to win the game. And they took the correct risk to win the game. They might have made shitty plays to make sure Afrika solos were 4-0 or 3-1. I don't remember the exact scoreline, but they made shitty plays and Afrika solos got ahead. They can't play a standard game anymore. They have to play aggressive, and they have to play up in their face, and they have to take 30%, 40% chance kind of plays, and they did, and it worked out for them. Like, yes, I agree
because they were playing bad up until this point.
Yes, they played up until that point, and then they started to take the right risk. Svenskeren was the major factor in that. Like, him deciding to be up top lane instead of going back bottom to defend was a major factor in that. A lot of junglers would have gone and recalled bottom and tried to defend and been like, stop pushing top, they're pushing bottom, they're pushing bottom, we need to cover this. And
but what about this then? The problem with this is this has digressed. Like, this isn't even about fucking Cloud9 versus Afrika, so like, it can't be a demo review after the fact. Let's do this instead. Where we'll make it different from the past review episodes is, in the past predictions, we always did like Team A, all of Team A, Team B, all of Team B, and then the prediction. Why don't we just combine them both? So since you're having this discussion about Svenskeren, instead of focusing on the Afrika series, how about this? Tell us your thoughts on Broxah, and then let's do Broxah versus Svenskeren. How about that? So, Loco, what do you think of Broxah?
I actually want to let LS have the table because I've been yelling at him a lot, and sorry, but LS knows much more about Broxah than me, so LS have the table.
I think that, what I was trying to get at in the previous conversation is I feel like it's disingenuous to say that anyone on Cloud9 was playing well when they found themselves in such a rut. And that's why I think that regarding some player as like highly performing, I thought the best player in the entire series for Cloud9 was Sneaky, by far. I think that Svenskeren having a good scoreline is not indicative of good play. Because I think that his exact play was the reason they found themselves in such a rut at 19 minutes. Not just his play. I mean, there's the counter pick, there's Jensen getting killed twice by Rise, Jensen failing a dive underneath the turrets, Svenskeren was in close proximity to press R. Wow, amazing. I mean, there was other stuff, but they weren't playing well. So Afrika played worse the later the game went on. Afrika handshook things that were very poor. So in the isolation Svenskeren versus Broxah, I can't say the same because Broxah was consistently playing well when he was finding himself in really shitty spots. He was finding his own ways out that didn't require entirely, or to the same degree that Afrika did in this quarterfinal match, opponents to make mistakes. I also think that Broxah was forced to answer more difficult situations than what Cloud9 found themselves in.
What situations do you think Broxah found himself in that was like really difficult to answer?
A lot of spots with Lee Sin. And I'm not just talking about like Dragon. I mean, he had some, like in hindsight, you can look back and be like, oh, they're not that innovative. But he had some innovative Sin to secure, engage on, be in the right places at right times. Some of the mistakes, or some of the things that he did get away with, yes, it was that the result of opponents making misplays, whether it be in mid lane or in bottom lane. But I think that from watching his pathing, like for instance, in the Cloud9 series, I thought that Sven, for the most part, got outpathed in a lot of situations. When I watched Broxah's series, I never thought that Broxah was actually getting outpathed. I always thought that he had insane amounts of tempo control over the enemy jungler. And yes, you can say that he's going up against Ning, who looked like he was probably drunk in some of the games, but...
He didn't even say anything about his coach. What are you talking about?
What? Wait, what?
No. It was a joke about
keep going. Keep going.
No, not Ning. I mean, he was going up against a jungler that looked really poor, but that wasn't the only issue. And again, I haven't watched the Fnatic quarterfinals yet, so I can't comment more on like what's going on in quarters for Broxah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Broxah versus Haro. I think the EDG's second jungler, the not clear up guy, Haro. In this Elise game, Broxah got outpassed pretty heavily. I mean, in level, they fucked up level 1 pretty hard, where Hillsong didn't back up, but the enemy jungler, where Broxah was Elise and the enemy jungler was Jin Zhao, which is a terrible matchup for Elise anyways. Jin put on so much pressure on Broxah. I guess it's unfair to argue with you on that because you haven't watched the series yet, but from watching the series, like game 1 was super problematic for Fnatic due to how much pressure EDG jungle put on them. And for me personally, I think Svenskeren for this tournament, jungle has been, I think, the single most influential role, and having the best jungler has been the most important. I guess it's little bit unfair to say because jungle determines where your team plays to. Like if your jungler wants to play the top side, right, then you become a top side team. If your jungle plays to bot side, you become a bot side team. I mean, there are drafts and other things and other resource location that matters, but jungle primarily determines which side they are playing to. So yeah, I think jungle this tournament is super fucking important. Well, just from instead of watching quarters, like overall so far, do you think Brox has been a better jungle than Sven?
By far, yeah. I mean, in the Africa series alone, Jensen did really well at game 1. Yes, Svenskeren partook in some of those ganks or the mid lane kills or whatnot. Jensen was phenomenal in game 1. The pressure that he exerted over mid lane and drew away, and then he roams he goes around with Svenskeren and he kills bottom lane. Sneaky was one of the main driving factors in the entire series.
Sneaky pressure was super important.
Sneaky pressure was insane. Sneaky and Zazel were doing phenomenally. It's a lot easier to look good as a jungler when your laners are winning as hard as they were. Cat was getting dumpster. Broxton managed to almost salvage Cap's first in 2 games with the assistance of Hillisang. I can't fucking do. Please name change. How terrible that must be for branding or something. I can't.
Fnatic manager's like, hey, there's this Korean analyst, and he can't really pronounce your name correctly, so we're gonna need you to name change.
We're gonna need.
That's gonna happen soon.
I think bad for branding. Then again, this is Chrome Company guy with fucking XYZ at the end of his name, so just fucking throwing that.
So my branding's insane. I own twitter.com/Locodoco, Instagram.com/Locodoco, Facebook.com/Locodoco, YouTube.com/Locodoco. I also own Locodoco.com. I own all.
Number one.
I mean, the obvious question: who the fuck wants the name Locodoco on the internet? But like, I think you might have ruined it, man.
What is it? So depending on your search engine volume, right? Your website per year changes a lot, like how much it costs to host. When I bought Locodoco.com, it was fucking $5,000 a year to $5,000 to buy that name. It's so fucking expensive.
That's a lot. What the hell?
It's so much because I get hella Google search volume. So yeah, fuck you, Thorin. Yeah, it was expensive buying that site. Okay. Anyways, go back to Broxta versus Svenskeren.
So Broxta Svenskeren, I just feel like Sven had an easier time looking good due to how the games panned out. Broxta was the main focal point of his games. I can't say the same for Sven. Yes, he had a nice scoreline in game number 2.
It was
not indicative.
No. My main argument wasn't scoreline. It was Svenskeren being aggressive at right points. And yeah, I mean, scoreline's like a really weird thing to pick at because that was my never main argument of Svenskeren being the.
I wasn't picking at scoreline. I was simply stating that to the public eye or public perception, they will see a good scoreline. I don't think that was indicative of his level of play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Touching a little bit on Broxta, according to GG Esports, he's the most valuable player and the best player at Worlds. Global rank number 1, region rank number 1, role rank number 1. Like his stats for everything are just fucking insane. And I will say, I've said this in past episode, when I didn't see Broxta play before, only in EU finals, because I don't watch EU LCS, I only watch the finals. Going into Worlds, when we were talking about GG Esports, I was talking to them about some of their stats, and I told them, like, I'm down, like, you guys are going to sponsor us, sure, but I don't agree with some of the stats. Like, for you guys have Broxta stats, like, crazy high, and your website ranks Broxta incredibly high, and I just don't think he's that good, so I think some of the stats might be whack. And they told me, maybe it is that way, but you should really watch the games and then determine. And they continuously had Broxta stat really high, and Broxta has shown that kind of performance. So, yeah, pretty insane player. Like,
the poor GG Esports were just like, oh, poor Loco, we know he only watches NA, he doesn't know what junglers are. Like, you should watch some of the games, mate. Like, anyway, what was the other one?
His carry percentage is 70% in the last 10 games. Like, he's been doing incredibly well. Average KDA 11.2 in the last 10 games. And we can't even say his stats are buffered by playing versus shitty opponents. It's last 10 games at Worlds.
Teams, yeah.
And he's at semifinals. So, I mean, when do you start facing good teams? Like, so up until semis at Worlds, he faced bad teams. Like, we can't even say, like, yeah, like, he got fucking buffered. Fucking crazy that EU's been able to produce this kind of talent. It's fucking crazy.
Okay.
So,
right, here's the question though. LS dodged this part. He contrasted Broxah and Svenskeren. They're about to play each other. Can you tell me how they actually might fare against each other? Like, if Broxah's that much better, LS, or at least thus far shown it, doesn't that hold some implication for the series? Like, he might, I don't know, fuck Svenskeren shit up. I don't know how you want to phrase it. Wouldn't that be a big advantage if Broxah's better than Svenskeren in the series? It's a jungle meta, right? It's an aggressive meta.
The jungler difference, I think, should be substantial. I think that if Fnatic ever has winning lanes, I don't think that Svenskeren has showed anything to actually salvage it, unless Fnatic then makes huge blunders. I think that if Fnatic has losing lanes, I think Broxah has shown more than enough competency in salvaging those lanes. I don't think that the same is said for Svenskeren.
Okay.
He never salvaged the lane. He salvaged later parts of the game. Whenever Cloud9 fell behind in lanes, he never salvaged them. Even when they got leads or they got advantages, the laners then tended to carry on by themselves, or they were basically ganks or something that you just couldn't mess up.
I personally, it's hard for me to call who'd play better between Broxah and Sven. Stats say Broxah, and Broxah has better teams surrounding him, so I'll concede that point. I do think it is a higher chance that Broxah does well, but I'll say ceilings for both players are pretty similar. I think Broxah has been more consistent. Broxah has been better overall, but Svenskeren, the highs that he's shown are very similar to Broxah's high. So if Svenskeren's firing on all cylinders, I do think we'll see similar performances, but more likely than not, Broxah will probably perform better.
Okay. Right, the obvious other part to talk about in this matchup and contrast is the solo laners, because if you look at this tournament, it's basically been about solo laners. You look at all the teams that are remaining in the tournament, they all have strong mid and top, basically, and basically play generally through those positions. So what do we think about that? Now, obviously, for Fnatic, there's the wrinkle that you don't quite know whether it'll be Soaz or Bwipo, because there's a logic where maybe you use Soaz to absorb Licorice's pressure, maybe use Bwipo to go directly against him. So you can address that on your own in that sense. So, Loco, start us off on this one. Contrast the solo laners of each team.
Both Jensen, I'll start with mid lane and then we can work up to top lane. For Jensen, Jensen's been off and on. Like, one thing super interesting for C9 is by far they are the most improved team at the tournament. By far the most improved team at the tournament. Watching them from play-in and watching them to now, they are by far the most improved team at the tournament. And I think Jensen is a key factor in that. Like, during play-in, like, this guy was getting dunked by wildcard Miz. And then he beat Kuro. Who else did he beat to get it here? He beat Xiao Hu in the RNG group's crown. I mean, his name has a little bit extra shine than it should, but he beat a lot of good mid laners to get here. Now he's versus potentially the best. Between Caps and Jensen, if Jensen demolishes Caps, I guess he still has perks to fight, but he might make a name for himself as the best mid laner at the tournament. Both Caps, Jensen, and Perks all have a chance to get the title of best Western mid, or even the best.
You mean Western, right? Okay, I see.
Yeah, best Western mid, by doing incredibly well at this tournament. They're both really similar. Like, they play super varied styles. They can pull off pretty much anything, especially Jensen. Dillian, utility support champion. LeBlanc, super heavy carry champion. Syndra, another super heavy carry champion. The only champion that I would be a little bit iffy to see Jensen on, and I don't want to see him on, would be Galio. That's been a core pick in this tournament that I don't think Jensen's excellent at. Irelia, he's also excellent. I think Jensen and Caps are very similar in a lot of ways. Both players with incredible highs and incredible lows. You can think back to Jensen's Echo not ulting and losing the finals, to Jensen fucking demolishing Kuro on with LeBlanc. Both Jensen has had incredible highs. I know C9 very well, so I'll talk about C9 solos. LS, I'll give it to you for Fnatic solos. Caps.
So Caps, this tournament, the most notable thing that is probably in people's minds is Caps versus Rookie, where Caps was getting annihilated. I think it's really important to stress that it's against Rookie. But his level of play as the game went on in mid and late game was really, really good, and it's very clean. I think that Caps is very similar to Perks in the playstyle attempt. I think that him and Jensen offer two different styles. And I think that Jensen can't exert the same kind of pressure or dominance that Rookie can. Nor do I think that I think that because mid is a 2v2 lane as well, Caps has a much easier time faring against Jensen and Sven than he did against Rookie Ning. So in that regard, I feel like Caps has an edge. I feel like Caps' only poor performances have been against Rookie in the entire tournament. And I think that his champion role, yes, Jensen has the zillion. Caps can, I mean, he's shown he'll play anything, right? Vayne mid is iconic in that sense. So I don't know what kind of crazy picks you have going on there. In top lane, you have Whippo and Soaz against Licorice. Whippo and Soaz aren't keen, but I do think that Whippo and Soaz are both slightly better than Licorice. Like, if I were to list the top 5 Western top laners...
Hunter?
Nice. I didn't say top 50. No, I'm kidding. It's not that low. Jesus. But
Lorlo?
it goes like Whippo, Soaz, and then Licorice and Wonder and whatnot, and then you go down from there, right? But I think that Whippo and Soaz are actually at the top, respectively. I know some G2 fans maybe are going to be upset at that. But I think that having Whippo and Soaz on standby for top lane substitutes and what that could mean for the top lane matchup, especially if they have anything wonky or tricky prepared, is really interesting. So I think that they have the edge up in top. And then down in bottom lane, Reckless is, I think, going to potentially be problematic because in the Africa Cloud9 series, Kramer looked kind of weak and vulnerable. I mean, he had.
They're picking Kai'Sa. Why are you picking Kai'Sa? That's the problem. Oh my God!
Get the hell out of here with your 3-7 in the last week. Yeah, let's go back 2 weeks where she's 7-3.
Because what is that? Teams are playing so fucking slow. She has all negative stats at 15 minutes.
Result-based analysis.
Half that result-based analysis. I've been saying Kai'Sa's been such a terrible pick for these players because right now, like,
I have been saying Kai'Sa was the second best ADC.
After Varus, what is it? People should be picking Varus over Kai'Sa. Okay, well, let me, give my facts on Kai'Sa.
Yeah, hit me with
She's negative stats on all 15, like CS, gold, experience at 15. And here's the thing, like right now how the game is balanced, 3-0 carries, 3-0 solo laners, be it jungle, top, or mid lane, will destroy 3-0 AD carries. Like they'll fucking look at them weird, and then the AD carry will go, ugh. Like if they look at them intensely, like AD carry will die. Like that's how the game balance is right now, where the solo laners and the bruisers and the burst mages can insta-gip the AD carries, and the peeling tools aren't that great at all. Like the defensive tools available to AD carries aren't that great at all, and games are being decided so early. Like the first turret, the first few fights, and the first few skirmishes are incredibly important. And having a bot lane that's constantly pushed in because you picked Kai'Sa, and the teams are fucking invading blue on you, setting up dive on you, taking dragon fights on you. It's such a dead weight, and it's such a hindrance to teams to have like losing and not functioning bot lane early. Like people picking Sivir and shoving Kai'Sa all the way in, people picking Lucian and having hella priority on Kai'Sa, or people picking Varus and like fucking poking the shit out of Kai'Sa and pressuring her really heavily. Like all these bot lane teams that have been prioritizing Kai'Sa got fucking digged by teams that have been picking Lucian and Sivir and Xayah into Kai'Sa and just pushing her in and having priority and being in better places to fight. So yes, Reckless had a really, or not Reckless, Sneaky had a really good series versus Kramer's Kai'Sa, and Kramer looked like fucking Garbo, but I think it is because Kramer picked Kai'Sa in all those games where he looked like Garbo. Also, the one game where he picked Varus, they actually had prio, and that was the one game where they had one of their best chances to win. Like Kai'Sa's been a shit champion. Like it's been a fucking trap champion for all these teams.
I mean, I think it's disingenuous to say that Kai'Sa is the only reason that the teams are losing. I think that
It's
there's benefits.
one of the reason, it's core reason that teams are losing. I mean, of course, there's a benefit, to hyper carry once they get 3 items, but games are being decided at 10, 15 minutes. Like, that's when, like, the games really matter. At 10, 15 minutes, like, you can pick a team, this team's going to win, and that team's probably going to win, like, 80, 90% of the time right now. Meta's so fast. Like, this has been one of the fastest metas yet.
It doesn't have to be that fast. You can pause these games at certain timestamps and just clearly see there's no reason to take team fights, and then it blows the game wide open. I think it's disingenuous to blame.
No. I will, like, this is kind of off topic, but I do want to talk to you about it. League has changed so much this year. The lack of vision provided and how better and how more coordinated teams have gotten and how more willing to fight they are. Like, League is League, the meta of League is so different between 2014, 2017 to 2018. 2018 meta in isolation looks a lot different from the past year. So what's been true in the past for this year hasn't been as true. If you go back and really think about and watch the games and be like, would this have happened in 2017 when there would have been 4 or 5 more vision wars to place down? It actually wouldn't have happened. But people don't see the approach. Go ahead.
I don't think it has to do with vision.
You don't think lack of Sightstone and Green Smite has nothing to do with why people are fighting more? The lack of vision. What do you think it has to do with them?
The level of play has gone down.
Overall, like, just this year, all the teams like decide to play like shit.
I mean, I'm not the only one saying that. There's a lot of pros that are very vocal about this on Twitter.
Yeah, there has been where people have been inting more and people have been fighting more. But when you play with less information, you are more likely to make mistakes, and you're more likely to get yourself into bad spots.
No, I'm talking
Plus,
about...
to be fair, if the narrative that all the teams believed was like, hey, you've got to be aggressive, you've got to do this early game, you're going to pull the trigger on way more stuff. So certainly you're going to make bad decisions and do some bad ganks and stupid skirmishes because, you know, you're not trying to do the most perfect route through the game, you know. Is it not some of both? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think, like, watching this Worlds, I never felt so strongly about pondering why were teams handshaking certain fights that seemed so volatile and so able to turn the game on its head or swing the game in one direction. It seemed like we're way more comfortable with going all in, you know, ace jack versus king queen. It seemed they were way too comfortable with doing that. And I don't think that has anything to do with vision, because we're talking about fights where they had absolute knowledge. I'm talking about river fights where everyone could see what was happening and people were still saying, okay, we're going to do this.
Because if you look at the situations in isolation, yes, but if you look at the game overall, when you have less vision, game feels different and you're exchanging information differently and you're thinking about things differently. And what teams have been experiencing is whenever we pick late game scaling comps, we're not getting to that point often as before. So they have been coached and they have been taught to fight more early and take the lead early and pressure that. I'm sure coaches have identified less vision means playing late game scaling comps are less likely to succeed. There's more aggressive tools available and it favors aggressive plays more. So players are coached to fight more and coaches are probably pushing for it more. And yeah, I mean, the Western teams and the Western players, in my opinion, have been coached and decided to play more aggressive and fight more. And it's been beating the late game Korean style.
Okay,
I don't think it's like a coincidence thing.
What was that tying into? It was about something to do with the bot lane and Reckless, right?
Well, Reckless, I think, is way more stable and reliable than anything that Kramer showed in the Afrika series. And I think that anything that Cloud9 faced. I also think that Sneaky had an off performance where he actually seemed like, I said that, in my opinion, Sneaky was player of the series for Cloud9 in the Cloud9 Afrika series. I don't think that that's normal. I think that Sneaky is a really, really solid ADC. I still think he's one of the best in the world. I don't expect him to play. I didn't expect him to play at that level that he did in the series. And I don't expect him to do that every single game or every series.
Sneaky's been funny. Like in 2017 Gauntlet, Sneaky played one of the best series of his life. Like super good Zaya, like all the way through. Like this Worlds, like that Lucian game, like that series of Lucian, Sneaky played extremely well. Like Sneaky has these like chains of really good games time to time.
Yes. So the thing with Reckless that I think is different is Reckless is he's one of the few Western ADCs that the longer that the game goes on, the more that you can rely on him.
Does in inverse does that mean he's weaker early?
No. If you give him advantages, you can rely on him. He's stable and solid. But I think that the longer that the game goes on, he's like I would rather have Reckless at 40 minutes than Sneaky any day, right? I would rather have Reckless than Hjarnan or something, right, at 40 minutes. I would rather have Reckless than probably even double it at 40 minutes. And that's mostly in part just due to volatility.
In what respect, though? Like, he makes better decisions in team fights, so he doesn't die easily. What are you thinking of when you say that?
Yeah, I think he's harder to bring down, and I think he makes better decisions in later stage team fights. I think that he's more impactful with full resources. And I don't mean like he'll show up and deal massive amounts of, but I think he makes it more difficult for you to find opening. And I think that his ability to min-max damage is really good. I don't think he'll punish you like a Forgiven type thing or like what Double Lift is known for. I don't think he needs to when you have Caps and Whippo in mid and
To be fair, though, that is also a factor. Like, I think if you look at Reckless, like, one of the problems is if Reckless gets to a late game team fight, half the time you're just thinking about where the fuck Caps is in the team fight, what you're going to do, what you're going to say for him, what CC you're going to use for him. So actually, I think Reckless, by the way, plays it perfectly, but benefits from that massively, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
we did the bot lane there. I can see the way the match up. But what about the solo lane aspect? Like, going head-to-head, the solo lanes, is there an advantage there for one of the teams?
I think
for example, okay, if people say both teams have strong solo lanes, what happens when two strong solo lanes meet? Does one just smash the other? Do they take turns to smash each other? Is it an even game? How do you think it works in the current meta?
I think Fnatic I don't know what the colors are, but Fnatic I think has massive edges on red side, because whenever you're red side for top lane, if you have the prio matchup, like if Whippo, this is one of the things that concerns me. I don't know if Soaz can play Victor. I know Whippo can, and Victor might be a contested pick in the series, depending on like has Licorice picked him up, or does Cloud9 actually think that Victor's worth picking up. Red side top lane right now, if red side top lane is interesting because it can mean that you're in an isolated 1v for the red side top lane. And it means that the red side jungler plays mid and bot side. In those regards, if Whippo's on a priority champion against Licorice, then I think that he's self-sustaining, and I think that it's really problematic for Cloud9. If it's like Whippo or Soaz on blue side against red side Licorice, then I think that the matchups are more important for dictating the pace of the game. Because I don't think that top lane is probably where Cloud9 wants to look for advantages or edges. Again, Whippo and Soaz aren't keen, so I think that Licorice will have an easier time, but I still think that Fnatic has the edge in top.
I tend to agree. I think Licorice, Licorice has been full of surprises. Every time I doubt Licorice, he showed up, so...
He's really good. He's really, really, really good.
And the performance versus Afrika, Aatrox, they blinded Aatrox knowing they would get potentially countered by Victor, and they were fine with it from Reaper's interview, so it's hard to even fault him for that. Like, you shouldn't be dying on Aatrox, but they purposely put him on bad matchups, and they were like, it's fine, we're going to get them Victor, and we're going to try to beat them early and mid-game. That was their game plan from Reaper's interview, so I will say Soaz and Whippo have been better, but Licorice is full of surprises. Like, for Cloud9, like, overall, this series, like, everyone has to play really well. Like, it is definitely possible for them to win. I think the whole theme of this world is everything is fucking possible. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I say advantage Cloud9 solos for both Jensen and Soaz Licorice. Or not Jensen, my bad, Caps and Soaz Licorice.
I was about to get a heart attack there. I was like, wait a minute. that doesn't make sense. I did not say that. Like,
Next topic, Thorin.
What about this? Let's just do the prediction part then. So we've done the matchups, right? Let's do the hard prediction part. So, Loco, who's going to win this, Fnatic or Cloud9? And give me a score. And go and do it on the... Oh, by the way, for anyone wondering, before Loco picks, you can compete against me and Loco on these matches. You can go on GG Esports, add us, username's on screen right now. You get some gems or some shit like that just for adding us in the first place. And then you can compete in our leaderboard, picking against us. And Loco will now presumably pick his at some point on the screen, and you'll see that in the video as well. Again, I'm not a wizard at editing shit, but I believe all the little gnomes come and do these things at night when I'm asleep. So, right, who's actually going to win the match then, Loco?
Brain prediction is Fnatic for sure. Just pure brain prediction, but I will say brain prediction for this tournament has been that good. Like, you take like all the... Like, in hindsight, it's actually been really obvious the top side, more solo-based teams have crushed the Koreans and the Chinese teams that have been unwilling to adapt. Like, in hindsight analysis, it's very easy to see.
If you notice, though, no one really saw that until semis. It's only because the teams that made semis, it seems clear, right? Like, it wasn't as obvious a little bit earlier.
Analysis in hindsight is super fucking easy to do. You take the reason why they lost, and it's just like so clear, but prediction's really hard, especially before you see them match up.
Well, the best example, Loco, is going into the playoffs, people would have said the two strongest teams are Royal Never Give Up and KT Rolster, and they weren't super top-side focused teams, and they both end up losing. But that we just know that they don't win now, so we know that they didn't end up be the best.
And also teams like... Also, one thing I've seen is like people expect the best out of the teams. Like, so Kelsey, I would say, is one of the strongest LPL analysts, and she mentioned that Royal has a tendency to sometimes pick double tanks and focus too much on Uzi, and that might not be the best in this tournament. Kelsey definitely said that, and she still picked RNG to beat G2 3-1. And they lost for the exact reasons that Kelsey said, and Kelsey somehow couldn't predict that. So yeah, it's really, really fucking hard. Like, you know, even with all the information, it's really hard to make good predictions. And like, I fucking hate how fans are like, I predicted Cloud9 would make semis, and it's like monkeys and typewriters. So it's like
Yankees lost to the Red Sox in 2004. Okay, like sometimes powerhouse teams that everyone with the fucking just a coincidence that everyone with the brains predicting one way, but you predicted you were the one guy that was like G2 is gonna beat RNG. I knew it all along. These fucking Korean fellatio enthusiasts or Chinese fellatio enthusiasts. Yeah, we're the idiots. Me, everyone else, all of the fucking people that do this for a living are all morons.
If you analytically told us, I think you guys have it wrong. I think like RNG and KT, they can sometimes tend to play really slow and not respect teams playing fast and focus more on the solo lanes instead of focusing overly much on bot lanes and draft these kind of picks. And I think that's why they're going to win. If they said that and they gave us analytical reasons, then like credits to them. But it's mostly like, I really believe in G2. Perks is my favorite player, and he's been playing really well. So I like Perks, so I pick Perks. Like, usually reasoning is like bullshit like that, or like it's Cloud9, like Age of Korea is over. Like, that's why I think Cloud9 is gonna win. Like, it's shit like that, and then you tell me you're correct, and even though you're correct, like you're correct for completely wrong reasons, and you made like heart and like feeling predictions, and you were right. Like, so
the quote. The skills you need to produce the right answer are the exact ones you need to recognize what a right answer is. That's the quote. So I mean, for people to be so adamant or certain that dozens and dozens of analysts and pro players across the globe were all just seemingly wrong with their fucking prediction, but they were right. I mean, that speaks.
Well, I'll tell you the one that triggers me, LS. As someone who gets like, I have a very big advantage over League of Legends fans, which is League of Legends fans don't get many opportunities to watch a tournament like Worlds. So as a result, there's only one of them each year of the scale of Worlds. So the results have to count. They're the only one that we have. So we have to say who the best is based on that. But since I watch a game like CSGO, where we have a tournament like Worlds, literally every month and a half, every 2 months, I can tell you that when you have more examples, a bigger data size, you get these upsets, but in the long run, they don't play out. So unfortunately, you can't know that in League. So another thing fans do, which I'm not going to make this a massive digression, but I get a bit triggered by, is they act like whoever wins the game was the only team that could have won the game. Like, for example, in a fan's mind, even though it was 3-0 for Cloud9, Cloud9 was always going to win that game. And anyone who said Afrika was is so wrong because they could never have won. There was no way, there's no universe where they even, like, there's not even a universe where, like, a Cloud9 player, like, fucking trips over bricks his hand before the game and then doesn't play. Like, there's no way. It's like, come on. Like, I know why fans do that because, like I said, there's only the one tournament. We're not going to run the tournament again. There isn't a tournament in a month from now. But you got to allow for the possibility that, like, some of these matches could have also been played differently.
Yes, and on the flip side, they can't recognize like yours or mine or Loco's hyperbole when we say that we can't imagine how Cloud9 can win. We're not saying that literally Cloud9 can't win. We're hyperbolizing the fact that it would take enormous things to happen for Afrika to lose. But they just can't get that through their fucking head because they're looking for something to confirm the narrative that they already have in their mind, which is fucking my mouth, a Korean dick, and 2 balls right here. And that's all they're fucking looking to see. Holy shit.
Here's the thing though, Ellis. I'm not someone who backs down. Like, I'm not going to talk back what I said. I legit did think Afrika would smash Cloud9. I gave the whole reasons why.
Me too.
You know, I thought in the first game Afrika would be way better than they were in the groups. I thought they'd win the first game, demoralize them. They'd have all the advantages because Cloud9 would try all the early game shit. It wouldn't work. Afrika would just absorb all that pressure, punish the fuck out of them mid-game, win the game. So I'm not going to back down at all. I did think that would happen. It didn't happen. Great. By the way, I know fuck all about League of Legends. You might have noticed that by the rest of the episodes. I don't know why everyone goes ham on me. Like, go ham on these motherfuckers. They actually do know about the game. Like, I'm just saying shit. Like, I don't know if you're aware of how the whole Summoning Insight formula works. I say a lot of shit. Monty goes, here's the part I agree with. And then, like, we got the guest scores. I like my region, and all the ones I don't watch, I don't like. And it's like, brilliant. And that was another episode. Here's the credits. Thanks for watching, morons. Like, I don't know if you were paying attention for the last 4 years, but that was kind of the script. Right, LS, who's going to win this game?
Oh, wait, I didn't even get to make my prediction.
You said Fnatic, didn't you?
Oh, I said my brain prediction.
Oh,
Fnatic.
right. Okay.
Let me
go on
think.
then.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the real prediction?
Give me the job security prediction. Hit me with it.
Shit.
Just remember, Cloud9's got a subreddit. Yeah, go ahead.
I really want to make like a heart prediction and say Cloud9. It's so fucking hard to like say Cloud9 because then I have to like rationalize and think through like all the reasonings why I would think Cloud9 would win, and it's really hard to come to that conclusion. I'm trying to think of things that Cloud9 does better. Cloud9, I think.
Any minute now. Any minute now, what'll come along? Okay.
Okay, I'll say. Oh man, this world has been crazy, and I'll say 3-2 Cloud9. I think Fnatic game 1, they maybe have a bad draft. I think game 1 Fnatic has a dumbass draft like they did versus EDG, and they overly try stuff and they become overly cocky, and Cloud9 pull out some tight wins and they win the series 3-2. And with a lot of like Sneaky, Sven, all like playing at their top class levels, I'll say Fnatic are C9 3-2 off the backs of Jensen and Broxa winning and winning, or Jensen, I keep saying Jensen and Broxa, holy shit, all these EU players. Jensen and Sven Skaren winning 2v2, and also Zezo and Sneaky being stronger early and taking more of the early prio picks and trying and helping mid more. So 3-2 Cloud9 for my official predictions.
LS, come on.
LS.
All right, that'll be the 0-5 for Loco. No, I'm gonna go out here and say Fnatic wins 3-0.
3-0. Holy shit! Damn, that's an intense prediction. I think that's.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go 3-0.
I think if I was given a lot of times and like to think on this, I might arrive at a different conclusion than 3-2 Fnatic. Or 3-2 Cloud9 beating Fnatic, but I would probably never say 3-0 Fnatic. What's your reasoning?
I mean, I feel like Fnatic. So here's the thing: when I watched all the Western teams, G2, Fnatic, and Cloud9, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, whatever. G2 originally impressed me the most. It was the initial Heimerdinger game that I saw. I thought it was the most impressive play from a Western team. Then I saw Fnatic play, and I was watching what they were doing in their games against IG, what they were doing in their other games in the group, and then their follow-up games against IG. And Fnatic was so clean at so many different points and things that I expected them to do. And I can't say this for other teams in the tournament. Things I expected to happen and actions I expected to be taken. Normally, like in the Cloud9 Africa, I would expect one, the fucking total opposite. Cloud9 is so consistent with decision makings and knowing seemingly what they wanted to do. And I haven't seen that from other teams. I didn't see that from Cloud9 even in any of their series. I didn't see that in the Cloud9 Africa series. I think they're really solid. So I think if they go up in the series, then the mental pressure is probably too much as well. But I think they're just too much. They're too much stronger across the board. I don't know this. I assume Fnatic has the edge,
none of that. Right? It would be coin flip.
No?
It would be coin flip because
really?
It's not quarters. Okay. It's not quarters. It's semis, and both teams won their semis. There isn't a higher semi seed.
Oh, I didn't know that. I would have assumed Fnatic was higher. They were higher seed going into the top 8.
Yes, they were number 1 seed. I don't know if that applies in semis, because what would happen if there's 2 number 1 seeds? I would assume it's coin flip. That makes sense to me.
No, I'm giving them a 3-0 because I feel like the way in which Cloud9 won their last 5 games was through opponents playing much worse than anyone expected them to, and Cloud9 beat them and punished some of the mistakes. And they were stable, they were solid, they played okay. The issue is that I haven't seen Fnatic really falter. I've only seen Fnatic keep getting better and keep getting stronger. So I think Cloud9 has a tendency for the last 5 games that I've seen keep doing the same things. Fnatic has a tendency to keep getting better, and they've been the most solid out of any team that I've seen so far. So I think that when those two things clash and collide, I think we get Fnatic 3-0.
I will say
again, I haven't seen quarters. Fnatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fnatic is way more cockier than Cloud9 right now. And when you come in cockier in a series that ends up being closer than you expect, you can start tilting extremely quickly. I think Cloud9's been they've been very Cinderella about things. They're like, holy shit, we can't believe we're here. Holy shit, we can't believe we're here. Holy shit, we can't believe we're actually at semi. Where Fnatic's like, we're gonna fucking race the trophy. We're fucking laser focused in on this. We're super fucking confident. And usually, it's things are going a little too well for Fnatic, and they're a little too cockier than they should be, in my opinion.
Here's the thing,
Thorin,
I actually think that, my real prediction, I'll be quick with that, I think Fnatic just wins 3-1. The reason I give one game is because, Fnatic just hasn't looked super clean in all their games. They definitely have not only given up games, but they could have lost some of the games. I know Ellis didn't see the EDG series, but I thought Fnatic could have lost some of those games as well. I thought at times they made some really unduly risky moves. Actually, Caps in the early game in this tournament, I thought he's done some really stupid shit. I agree he's been really good in the mid game. I don't know what he's done at times. So I'll say that Cloud9 wins 1 game and Fnatic's just a better team generally. Right, that's the serious prediction. I want to just make a non-serious prediction here, which is just because I got flamed by all the idiot fans on Reddit because Cloud9 3-0 to Freaka, I'm going to do a spite prediction that I'm going to double down and say Fnatic ultra shits all over Cloud9. 3-0s them so hard, Reaper literally just burns his green card as, he probably doesn't even fucking have one, just gets his fucking visa, just burns it to shreds and just goes, I know nothing about this game. I can't coach trash like you. And then he just kicks Sneaky into a fucking garbage bin and it rolls down a hill. He just pops out at the end. Some NA fan just goes, oh my god, amazing mechanics, the way he falls out of the bin. And then that's just the end. And then Fnatic literally just wins worlds off that. Oh. And that's the spite prediction. So there you go. And by the way, the reason I can do that, unlike you guys, is because what are they going to do to me now? Talk mad shit on me? They already did that when I had a reasonable video. So talk more mad shit. What are you going to do? Tell me I don't know about League of Legends? No shit, I don't, you fucking morons. I know absolutely nothing about League of Legends. The fact that you dunces actually think that I do is your fault. It's not my fault I trick you. I know I'm charismatic. I know I say things that draw you in, make you want to argue with me. Yeah, don't blame me. Hate the fucking game, not the player. That doesn't make sense. But whatever, I don't give a fuck. That's the end. Is there anything else to say on this episode? It's been pretty long.
I wanted to ask before the episode ended, for both Thorin and LS, who do you think is going to play, Soaz or Brickbo?
My assumption would be, from watching the quarters, like, I actually think that the logic will be that you start Soaz and then you see how it goes, because I actually, like, as I alluded to before, I know most people are going to be like, but Whippo is a better carry, etc. Like, I personally don't like putting 2 carry top laners against each other and just seeing who smashes the other. I think it's a stupid way to play the game. Whereas Soaz has made a whole career off being an amazing pressure top laner. So I'd start Soaz. I see if he can deal with Licorice. If he can't, right, fuck it. Time to bring Whippo in. If he can, well then that's one of the main strengths of Cloud9 utilised. GG. Now time to get in that trash can, Sneaky.
I think Whippo red side, Soaz blue side.
Why do you think they played all? They not to spoil it for you, but they played all Whippo in quarters.
Well, they were playing EDG, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, they were playing EDG, and I mean, I don't know if you're spoiling it for me. Do they play Victor? I know Whippo can play Victor.
They played one game of Victor.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think so. Like I talked about earlier in the episode, red side top lane is designed in this meta to be required to be more self-sufficient, but it also caters more to carry top laners if you're on red side top than on blue side top. So I think that Whippo red side makes more sense. Blue side Soaz makes more sense into Licorice for the reasons that Thorin's actually even suggesting.
Oh, by the way, can I just add one last detail? One last detail I need to add, Loco. That's a very important part of my prediction. Is that when Cloud9 loses, every single person who just knew they were going to win the quarterfinals because they believe in Cloud9 so much, and they've always been a Cloud9 fan, and they know Reaper's a genius, and Jack's done everything. All of you will have betrayed Cloud9 because you didn't give your love and your strength and change the universe through the power of love to make Cloud9 win. It's all your fault. It's none of the players. They're all great guys. Even Sneaky in that trash can's a cool guy. I like him. He's good when he dresses up. Maybe that's the Oscar the Grouch cosplay next. I don't know what's going on in the stream, but it's all your fault. That's the end of my section of this show. Hate me if you want. I am a fucking legend.
I want to counteract Thorin a little bit.
Come on.
I think NA fans and EU fans definitely get to be proud of their reason for once finally. Maybe not finally for EU, but definitely for NA. But like, let's not overdo it and like try to shove it in people's faces and like be like nasty fans, because you guys like supporting NA and it's a huge reason. Like it's a huge reason like why NA even exists. Like the support of fans and how strong of a fan base a lot of the teams have, like TSM, Cloud9, CLG, Team Liquid. And you guys should definitely support your fans and or support your teams, and it's amazing how far Cloud9 has gotten. But both EU fans and NA fans for this Worlds has been fucking nasty. Like there's been, I'm not saying everyone is.
I think it's so local, like you say, because it's happened so rarely for certain places, and in a EU's case, they even think they're going to the finals, obviously. Like, on one level, I do understand that, by the way. Like, if people just vent because, you know, they've been so frustrated all those other worlds, they always thought it was going to happen, and it did. I get that. Like, I don't take it that personally. I'm just joking in a lot of what I say now, you know, at this point in time. But I agree with you on that point. Generally, try not to be nasty, but at the same time, it's only one fucking world. So don't worry, next world career will take a massive deuce in NA's face again. So just have your time now. Enjoy it. It's like that time Loco won NALCS and he was like, oh, look, haha, I'm a brilliant coach. I was like, world is around the corner, son. And then anyway, it's same as that scenario, so, but just on a longer scale, okay? And if that doesn't happen, LS will be down there in the fucking bunker on his last days watching the Samsung White up fucking Season 4 World Championship going, it was a good run, but that's the end for all of us. And so...
Oh yeah, fun fact, LS is in a bunker. He thinks the world's gonna end. He thinks Korea not making it to semis is the first step of the world ending. That's why he's
wearing that hoodie because he thinks the sky is literally falling right now.
LS is in his nuclear bunker.
Exactly.
It's all over.